The day my daughter graduated, I thought nothing could ruin it. The sun was warm on my shoulders. The smell of fresh-cut grass and popcorn drifted through the stadium. I had my camera ready, heart pounding with the kind of pride only a parent understands. For years of late-night studying, tears over math tests, college rejection letters, and victories that made us both cry, this was her moment. When they called, "Next we have." I leaned forward, phone poised to capture her smile as she crossed the stage. But the principal didn't say Lily Anderson. He said Samantha Lee Carter. My smile froze. The applause around me blurred into static. Lily walked across the stage, accepting the diploma with that same bright smile, tossing her hair just like she always did. But in the principal's hand, that name. Not hers. I laughed under my breath at first. A silly mix-up, I told myself. Maybe the cards got shuffled. She'd hand it back, they'd swap, everyone would clap. But she didn't. She held that diploma like it belonged to her. When she reached me in the stands after the ceremony, I pulled her into a hug before she could say a word. "They messed up," I whispered. Her brow furrowed. "Messed up?" I held out my hand. "The diploma. Let me see it." She hesitated, just for a second, but enough for my stomach to twist. Finally, she handed it over. Samantha Lee Carter. The school seal gleamed under the sunlight. The signatures at the bottom were real. The paper was thick and official. This wasn't a misprint. This was someone else's diploma. "Who's Samantha Carter?" I asked. She shrugged too quickly. "I don't know. Probably some kind of mix-up. I'll go to the office Monday." Something in her voice was off. We smiled for photos with relatives. We ate dinner at her favorite restaurant. She laughed at all the right times, hugged her grandparents tight, thanked them for coming. But every so often, her hand would drift to her purse, where she'd tuck the diploma away like it was something fragile. Or dangerous. That night, after she went to bed, I poured a glass of wine and sat with my laptop. Just curiosity, I told myself. I typed Samantha Lee Carter into the search bar. 3 results down, I froze. An old hospital announcement from 18 years ago. Born, Samantha Lee Carter, 7 pounds, 4 ounces, Memorial General Hospital. The same hospital where Lily was born. The same date. My breath caught. The next link was worse. A small-town news clip from the same year. A car accident. A young couple injured on their way home from the hospital. Baby unharmed. Baby. Samantha Carter. My hands shook as I clicked the last link. It led to a blurred photo of a baby girl wrapped in a pink blanket. The caption said, "Baby Carter recovering well." The face wasn't Lily's. And deep down, I knew I'd seen that face before. Somewhere. I barely slept that night. The baby's face from the article burned behind my eyelids. Not because she looked like Lily. She didn't. But I knew that face. I couldn't explain how. It was the same way you recognize a melody without remembering where you heard it. By morning, I'd convinced myself I was overreacting. Graduation had been emotional. I was tired. Things make less sense when you're tired. Still, after Lily left to celebrate with friends, I found myself digging through the closet for the old box of baby keepsakes. First, ultrasound photos. Her tiny hospital bracelet. The newborn hat with the little pink bow. And at the very bottom, a slightly crumpled envelope, the birth certificate. Lily Marie Anderson. Born at Memorial General Hospital. Delivered by Dr. Howard Sims. Everything looked normal, except the time of birth. It said 2:43 a.m. I remembered being told 5:17 a.m. I had been groggy in pain but certain. My mother had even commented on how she was born, right after sunrise. I checked the bracelet. It matched the certificate, 2:43 a.m. The unease inside me coiled tighter. I decided to call the hospital, telling myself I was just verifying records for college paperwork. The receptionist was polite, but when I gave her Lily's full name and birth date, there was a pause. "One moment, please," she said. The hold music crackled. My heart pounded with each note. Finally, she came back. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't have a record for a Lily Marie Anderson born on that date at Memorial General." The words slid into me like ice. There must be a mistake. I have her birth certificate right here. Another pause. The only female birth recorded at that date and time was Samantha Lee Carter. I gripped the phone until my knuckles whitened. "Are you sure?" "Positive, ma'am." Perhaps the name was changed after the fact? You'd have to speak with Records Administration for that. My thank you came out as a whisper. After I hung up, I sat in silence. The house was too still, the ticking clock suddenly deafening. If Lily wasn't in their records and Samantha Carter was. I opened my laptop again, searching the names together. Samantha Carter plus Lily Anderson. Buried in a dusty corner of the internet, I found something. A forum thread from years ago, mostly abandoned now. The title made my stomach flip. Anyone else's baby mixed up in the nursery? Scrolling, I found a comment by someone named E. Carter. She wrote, "Our daughter Samantha was born Memorial General, April 18th, 18 years ago. There was another baby girl born that same night. Same weight. Same hair. We used to joke they could have been swapped. But, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if it's really a joke." The post was dated 10 years ago. No replies. No closure. But there was an email address. My hand hovered over the keyboard. Should I reach out? I stared at the blinking cursor for 10 minutes before typing a single word. Hello. Delete. My name is Claire Anderson and delete. Everything I wrote sounded insane. Hi, I think my daughter might be your daughter. Isn't exactly a casual conversation starter. But the longer I sat there, the more I knew I couldn't just walk away. Finally, I kept it simple. Evelyn, I came across your post from years ago about your daughter Samantha. I think we need to talk. I have a reason to believe there may have been a mix-up at Memorial General the night she was born. Please, this is important. I hit send before I could lose my nerve. Then I waited. Hours crawled by. I kept checking my email every 5 minutes, pretending to fold laundry, wash dishes, anything to distract myself. But my mind kept looping back to the hospital room, the nurse wheeling in a bassinet, the warm weight of a newborn in my arms. By evening, I was convincing myself she'd never reply, until my phone pinged. It was her. "Claire, I've waited 18 years for someone to take that post seriously. I don't know what you know, but my gut says you're right. I think we should meet. Tomorrow, if you can." She sent an address 2 towns over. A little cafe I'd never been to. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake listening to the hum of the fridge, my thoughts flipping between hope and dread. What if she was a fraud? What if she wasn't? By morning, I'd rehearsed every possible question in my head. I didn't tell Lily where I was going. I just said I had errands. The cafe was small, with soft yellow walls and the smell of cinnamon in the air. I spotted her immediately, shoulders straight, hands wrapped around a mug like she was keeping herself from shaking. "Evelyn?" I asked. She nodded. Her eyes were a deep green, the kind that see straight through you. "Claire." We sat. She didn't waste time. Samantha, my Samantha, has always felt different. Like she's mine, but not. And when I saw Lily's graduation photos online last week, my chest tightened. "You saw them?" She reached into her bag and pulled out a printed photo. Lily on stage in her cap and gown. She looks exactly like my mother. Exactly. We both fell silent, letting that sink in. Finally, I told her about the diploma, the hospital records, the mismatched time of birth. Her eyes filled with tears. "I knew it," she whispered. She slid a folded piece of paper across the table. "This is Samantha, your maybe daughter." I opened it. A smiling girl with dark hair and a dimple in her left cheek stared back at me. And my breath caught in my throat. Because I'd seen her before. In my house. The photo shook slightly in my hands. Samantha's face was frozen mid-laugh, head tilted, like she was caught off guard by the camera. But I knew that expression. I had seen it 3 months ago. It was a Sunday afternoon. Lily had been upstairs studying. I was in the kitchen making iced tea when the front door creaked open. A girl stepped inside. She looked a little lost, scanning the hallway like she wasn't sure she was in the right place. Her hair was damp from the rain, her cheeks flushed. She froze when she saw me. "Oh, hi," she said. "Sorry, I think I have the wrong house." I'd smiled politely, said no problem, and asked if she needed directions. She mumbled something about meeting a friend and backed out the door. I hadn't thought about it since. But now the girl from my kitchen and the girl in this photo were the same person. I looked up at Evelyn. "She's been in my home." Her eyes widened. "Why?" I didn't have an answer. My mind was already flipping through possibilities, school project, mutual friends, some coincidence, but none of them felt right. Evelyn's hand gripped her mug. "Claire, we need to know. Where does Lily hang out after school? Who are her closest friends?" I thought of Lily's phone calls, the names she dropped here and there. But one name stood out, a girl she'd been talking about for months. A girl named Sam. My stomach dropped. Sam, I whispered. Evelyn's expression hardened. That's what we call Samantha. It hit me like a slap. The two girls had found each other without knowing the truth. Or had they known all along? Before I could say more, Evelyn pulled out her phone and scrolled to a screenshot of a text thread. She turned the screen toward me. Samantha, going to Lily's later. I think she suspects something about my mom's story. The timestamp was 2 weeks ago. The cafe felt suddenly smaller, the air heavier. I forced myself to breathe evenly. We have to talk to them. Evelyn nodded, but there was hesitation in her eyes. Not yet. If we rush in, they'll shut down. We need proof. Real proof. Her words echoed the same resolve I'd felt when I first saw the wrong name on that diploma. Proof wasn't just about believing, it was about making them believe. We agreed to meet again in 3 days, each of us digging for whatever pieces we could find. When I left the cafe, the streets looked sharper, sounds louder, like the world had tilted slightly. The idea that my daughter might have been walking, laughing, and confiding in the girl who should have been me felt unreal. That night, I went into Lily's room while she was showering. On her desk, half buried under notebooks, was a Polaroid. Lily and Samantha, arms around each other, grinning like they'd known each other forever. On the back, in Lily's handwriting, my sister. I stared at the word sister until it blurred. My mind tried to reject it. Maybe it was a joke, a cute nickname. But the knot in my stomach told me otherwise. I tucked the photo back exactly where I found it, careful not to leave a trace. When Lily came out of the bathroom, steam following her into the hallway, I forced my voice to sound casual. How was your day? She shrugged, drying her hair with a towel. Fine. Just hung out with Sam. My throat tightened around her name. Sam again. Yeah, we were working on a thing. She avoided my eyes. What kind of thing? Her pause was just a fraction too long. Just school stuff. It was a lie. I could feel it. That night, after she'd gone to bed, I waited. When her breathing turned steady, I crept into her room and took her phone from the nightstand. My heart pounded, not from guilt, but from knowing I was about to cross a line I couldn't uncross. The phone was locked, but I'd seen her passcode enough times. My hands trembled as I scrolled through her messages. There it was, a chat with Sam Blossom. I opened it, and the first message I saw wasn't school-related at all. Sam, I think my mom's hiding something from me. Lily, mine too. What if it's the same thing? My chest went cold. I scrolled further back. Weeks of messages. Talk about weird birth stories. Comparing baby photos. Joking about accidentally being switched at birth. Only it didn't read like a joke. Sam, if we are, I think I'd rather be with you than her. Lily, don't say that. We don't even know yet. Sam, we will soon. One message was just an address and a date. 2 days from now. I screenshotted everything, my hands slick with sweat, and slid her phone back before she could stir. The address nagged at me all morning the next day. I finally typed it into Google Maps. It was a small, gray building on the outskirts of town. No sign, no business name, just private testing services. A DNA lab. The girls were planning to test themselves. And they were doing it without us. That evening, I called Evelyn from my car, my voice shaking. They already know something. They've been talking for weeks. They're meeting at a DNA testing place in 2 days. There was a long silence. Then, we have to stop them. Or, maybe we have to be there when it happens. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight they ached. If we're there, and it's true, everything changes. There's no going back. Her voice was calm but resolute. Claire, I think we passed the point of going back a long time ago. 2 days later, I parked down the street from the gray building. Evelyn's car was already there. She sat in the driver's seat, staring straight ahead, her knuckles white on the steering wheel. They're inside, she said without looking at me. Through the narrow glass door, I saw them, Lily and Samantha, sitting side by side in the waiting area. Heads close together, whispering. It struck me how similar they looked. The tilt of their chins. The way they both tugged at their sleeves when nervous. My chest tightened until it hurt. Do we go in? I asked. Evelyn's voice was a whisper. If we do, we change the story they've been telling themselves. If we don't, she trailed off. I didn't realize I was already moving until my hand touched the door. The bell above it chimed. Both girls froze. Lily's eyes widened. Mom, what are you doing here? Samantha's gaze darted to Evelyn, who had followed me in. Her voice was small. You're not supposed to be here. I swallowed hard. Neither are you, apparently. The receptionist looked up from her desk. Are you the guardians? They just signed the consent forms. The forms sat on the counter, both names written in teenage scrawl. Girls, I said carefully, why didn't you just ask us? Lily's jaw clenched. Because we knew you'd lie. You've been keeping something from us, and we wanted the truth. Samantha's voice shook. We have the right to know who we are. Evelyn stepped forward, her voice trembling. You're right. You do. But this is bigger than you think. The room felt too small, too bright. My heartbeat was loud in my ears. I turned to the receptionist. Run the test. We'll wait. The swabs were quick, just a brush inside each girl's cheek. They sat together afterward, knees almost touching, avoiding our eyes. 30 minutes later, the technician returned with a white envelope. She held it like it might explode. My hands shook as I took it. Evelyn moved closer. The girls leaned in. I tore it open. 2 lines of text stared back at me. Probability of full biological relation. 99.98% the words swam. Evelyn's breath caught. Lily and Samantha looked at each other, then at us. It's true, Lily whispered. Samantha's eyes filled with tears. So you're my mom? She asked Evelyn. Evelyn nodded, covering her mouth with one hand. And me, standing there with my own tears blurring the page, looked at the girl I had carried, fed, loved for 18 years, but who wasn't mine by blood. Yet in my bones, she was still my daughter. No piece of paper could change that. But it also couldn't erase the girl standing beside her, the one I had never gotten to hold. Somewhere deep down, I knew this wasn't an ending. It was the start of something far more complicated. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you.